routes and route parameters.
Recording in
We learned
progress.
about this. Now, by using all the routing concept, so with our forms interactions, we need to create one complete end-to-end application. We will see one complete end-to-end application by using this. So that means we will first see here how do we work with the Mon Stack app. We will see a Mon Stack application. Mon Stack application. So here we will maintain some database in MongoDB and middleware using Express. Express.js we will use middleware and React. This is for front end. So front end we use React and server side we will use Node.js. So by using this, we will see how do we build one application. Now in this, we have to handle basic all CRUD operations. We need to handle CRUD operations. So in this Mon stack, we need to handle the CRUD operations. CRUD operations, so like how we manage, create, so that is read and update and delete. How we manage all this. So we will implement through backend database and APIs and all. So what we will do is we will create one application like some to-do application. We will create one to-do application. In this to-do application, we have user can register and user can log in. So user can add appointments. So user can edit, delete appointments. So here when user login, so we display personal dashboard. We'll display the personal dashboard. We will display the personal dashboard. Personal dashboard means what his appointments are, what are the coming at appointments. So such details we will maintain. So this is an application we have to design with complete end-to-end integration. So we have to manage everything with the backend database and server side node. So without login, no one can use this app. It is mandatory to log in. And to log in, first he need to register. That is compulsory. And every user have appointments. That means we need to maintain a relationship in such a way that When user logs in, only his appointments will be shown. What are his appointments? It will display. So generally what people do is, without backend database and creating API, they maintain a JSON server, and on the JSON server they store the data and they do manipulation. That means usually anywhere, even online tutorials and all, they use that, because again, explaining a database server side is risky for new people. That's the reason they show a JSON server. So we are not using that. We will use the real database and the real server side. We will create our own API for managing all these CRUD operations, and we will design. Once we do, once you see this completely happening, now based on that, I will give you another application that you have to do by yourself. I will guide you with few points. Rest of that you have to design. So this I will show complete, and the next one you have to do it. So for this, first we have to start. First, for this complete end-to-end application, so we need database. We generally need database. I will give simple key points to understand what database we are going to use, why we need the basic things. That means even if anyone is not aware of that, then they can know about it. Right? Actually, some people may know about databases. They may learn database, but here I will give a simple overview of everything from the beginning. We will see some basic point. So first important concept is, so what is database technically? What is database? Database is a store where you can store the data. It is a store. We can store the data. So we can store data in file also. Then why we need database? I want to store some data. I can store in a file. Why to use database? Why you need a database? If you can store data in a file. Large amount of data, security, these are not points, because files also have. File also can store large amount data. File also have securities. I think if you don't know Excel, MS Excel, it provides filtering, sorting, searching, querying, everything. Very complex financial calculations also. Then why to use a database? Huh? One technical point is there. So the database main purpose is relational data. That means it is easy to configure and maintain relationship between the data, which is difficult in a file, managing relational data. These softwares are very huge. For example, Excel. In Excel file, millions of data you can store. One sheet contains 65,000 rows. and more than 256 columns. Do you know Excel provides DBA coding? Excel have a Visual Basic coding. This is Excel coding. You can design forms, you can design UI for interactions. You know of just like suppose like a table, Excel, but we have 4 years diploma in Excel. People do 4 years diploma in Excel. So very huge these are, including front end designs are provided in this. This is Excel, and in Excel, you can write the logic, you can design the forms. You have a form interface also. You usually have a form interface. That means it's very huge Microsoft language. It uses a language called Visual Basic, and you can design. You see, it provides controls to you: radios, checkboxes, buttons. This is Excel design. That means you can build very complex applications. It's very huge. Then why we need databases? The major basic concept. So technically, simple point in general simple way I'm explaining. So database is a store. So you can store and handle relational data. You can store and handle relational data. Handle relational data. So it is a store. You can store and handle relational data. Actually, what is advantage is, so it is good for data analytics, engineering, and the science. It is good for data analytics, engineering, and science. You know, currently one of the most trending software technologies are these three. You know, that means one of the most trending software technologies: data analytics, data engineering, data science. So these are very good to manage by using these relational data. Usually, analytics is nothing but basic, data analytics, data engineering is, for example, you are using some uh, YouTube. When you are watching YouTube, so once you watch a video, automatically it starts recommending relative videos. That is the analysis, data analytics. That means what you are watching, what type of content you are watching. Based on that, it just gives suggestions now. What type of products you are searching on Amazon, based on that, other products it will recommend. How your activity is on that website, based on that, next recommendations will come. These are all analytics and engineering like concept. Science, data science is predictions, data predictions. Data predictions is nothing but, for example, you see, best example, suppose you see a cricket match. When you are watching a cricket match, everything is data science and analytics there. That means they show with this rate, if they bat, how much they make. That is data science. That is data science. That means with this rate, if they bowl, how many overs they can bowl, how much they can make. So this all data science. So data in a file is not great for analytics or for engineering or for science. For that, we need good store so that we can keep it and manage. That is the basic point about database. That means in old concepts, we have a standard definition for database. Means people who learn several years back databases and all, they have some standard definition. But these days, data means three main concepts are there: analytics, engineering, and science. These days, the modern data need to be good for these three. That is the major primary concept of databases. And actually, so database are classified classified into two major types. Currently in market we have two major types. One is SQL based, another one is non-SQL based, or people also call NoSQL. NoSQL or non-SQL, anything is okay. SQL based and non-SQL based actually. So now we have databases, SQL or SQL, anything you can pronounce, doesn't matter. So SQL based, non-SQL based databases, actually for data manipulations, data interactions, you need a special language. You need a special language, that is structured query language. You need a special language. By using this language, you can communicate with database. To communicate with database means to create database, to read data from it, to insert, update, delete, to perform all types of manipulations. You need a language which is SQL. Now you have so many other databases which doesn't need that language. Without using a special language, you can easily manage the data. It provides simple methods and functions, just like JavaScript. By you, just like JavaScript, suppose you are dealing with a array in JavaScript. How to add a new item into array? You use a push, you use unshift. How to remove? You use pop, you use shift. So similar to that, non-SQL databases have simple methods. They have simple queries. They can easily manipulate the data without using a language, structured query language. So actually, SQL is structured query language, is used to handle communication with data store. Communication with the data store. So non-SQL database use simple functions, or you say methods, to handle communication and manipulate data. Manipulate data. So here, for example, you have an Oracle. It is SQL based. You have like MongoDB. This is what non-SQL base, non-SQL or no SQL base. There are so many actually. We have Fox Pro, which is not SQL based. That's also a database. So earlier, before Oracle, all these very popular is Fox Pro. Even today, in many locations, they use Visual Fox Pro. That's advanced. So many are there. So MongoDB is a non-SQL database. It is a non-SQL database. Now we are going to use this non-SQL database MongoDB because again for SQL you have to learn this language. So learning a language of SQL, it's very complex again. It's very complex. Here we are not learning that language. Here we will use simple MongoDB, which is enough to easily understand. Anybody who knows JavaScript, he can easily manage that. So what is MongoDB these days? One of the popular databases used in applications is MongoDB. So many applications are using MongoDB as a database. So technically, what are the some key features of this MongoDB? That means, so MongoDB, what are the key features of MongoDB? Actually, so what is this MongoDB? Generally, you should know that Mongo is a cloud service. Mongo is a very big cloud service people. They are very big cloud service. They have not only database, they have so many others. In that we are using database. That means don't think that Mongo is only database. Mongo is not only database, it is a very big cloud service. You know, cloud service means they provide a lot of things. What they provide infrastructure as service, they provide software as service, they provide application as service. That means cloud services means they provide so many things, infrastructure and all this. MongoDB is a very big cloud service actually. So you see, so MongoDB, this is MongoDB. So this MongoDB is a big cloud service actually. This is a big cloud service. So you can see it is a cloud service. It has a lot of things. It has a lot of options. And important, this is having paid features also, right? That means, you know, cloud services means you have to buy and use the services. So they provide lot of services. In that we are going to use a simple database. We are going to use the database. And what are the key features actually for this MongoDB is actually it is a document based database. It is a document based database. It is a document based database. So it uses ORM, object relational mapping or mapper. object relational mapping, or you can say mapper, right? ORM. So it is a document based database. It uses ORM. Actually, it is a schemaless. So ORM and schemaless, these are the important points. For example, what is ORM? Object relational mapping. It's a big topic. Here we will see in a simple way the concept we will understand. I will give you one small requirement here. For example, suppose so we have a user register. Now user have to register. Yeah. So if user have to register, generally in that register form be given 15 fields. He have to fill up 15 fields related to his details. In that, only 8 are required, means mandatory. Others are optional. Others are optional. Now, for how many fields I need to keep my data ready? I need to create a table to store the data. Now, for how many fields I need to create a table? 15 fields, because we don't know who will fill up all. Some people may fill all 15, some people may fill 10, some people may fill only 8. That means you are saying that you are maintaining 15 fields for a user who have filled only 8 fields. You are maintaining 15 fields for a user who filled 8 fields. And you are using the 15 fields in queries for a user who have only 8 fields. That means how you know which user have filled which field? For every user, for example, suppose we have user 1. He filled say 8 fields. That means we say select field 1, field 2, field 3. Is it suitable for everyone? If you use star, you know, in databases people use star, which is not recommended actually. In real world projects, if at high level anybody asked you a question like, I'm using database, huge data have to come, I am using an application where I have to show the data, because millions of data is present, it is delayed, slow. Tell me some tips so that I can make it fast. Do you know what first point people tell? Never use stars in your queries. That is the first basic rule. Never use star in query. What is star? It is a search pattern. It is not all. It is a search pattern. You are searching for what? What you are searching? You know what your project have. Then what you are searching? You know what your database is there. What your fields are. Then what you are searching? Why you are searching? Star is not all. Star is a search pattern. You know, zero or more occurrence, na? Star is a regular expression. It's a wildcard character. That means zero or more occurrences. Why you are searching? Anybody may say, I have 500 fields. Write 500 fields. Write all those fields, but never use star. That is the first basic rule. That means you are querying so many things which are not required for that user. That is not a great idea. Now imagine a database table is created in such a way that for every user different set of fields are there. Different set of fields are there. That's great. That is what MongoDB is. MongoDB uses this approach. That means in a table, every row can have different set of fields. That means for one user, one, another user, another. Then querying, you will see, you can query easily based on that. You will see query, I will show you how do we do that. Initially, that is the concept of schemaless. Schemaless is a structureless. Actually, you know, for example, we have an array. In that we have an object. We have a name, some name. We have price, some price. This is one. Second one is having name, and another one is having cost. Now, is it okay? Is it valid? It is not a structured data. JSON will fail here. You know, JSON will show error. You know, JSON files. They say that the structure is not matching. The structure is not matching, but this is now valid. You can have. That means you can manage your data in this way. You can have. That means you can have another field extra in one record. This is actually the concept of document base, document base, and we call schema less. ORM also same point actually. ORM means actually, suppose we have a database. You have database. Now what happens is this database is designed according to business requirements. According to the business requirements, we design the database. Now our developers, what they were doing earlier, they were writing for database. They were writing for database. Now we ask them to write for business. And writing for business is ORM. If database is designed according to business, you also write for business. That means what is the point here? You don't need to have database ready to write database program. That means in your application, you have to work with some database, but the database is not constructed. It's not there. No worry. According to business requirements, you write. Do you know it can create database for you? According to the logic you written in application, it can create database for you. It can add tables for you. It can store data in them. That is the great feature of ORM, object relational mapping. That means you tell You write according to business. That means earlier what we have to do, to write for database, we need to wait for database to construct. Database need to be constructed. It should be ready. Then we can write for it. But now through ORM mechanism, what happens? You can design. Actually, ORM is a big concept. I have some old points are there. ORM is a very big concept. I will show one simple object relational mapping. Yeah, actually, this is ORM related option, entity framework. Yeah, this is an ORM related option, object relational mapping actually. So this ORM will introduce so many features like change tracking, identity resolution, lazy loading, query translations and all. Developers usually have so many points like that. Means it actually uses a concept called POCO, plain old objects. I will show you here. We call them as BSON. JSON, BSON will be there. Business objects actually. They are not JavaScript object notation, right? That is BSON, business based actually. In that, what happens is, if see, already have the business classes, then what happens is, according to the business, it will prepare the database. If already have database, then it will interact with the database. That means what happens is, in ORM, if database is there, it will interact. If not there, it can even create. That's the great feature. You see in MongoDB, you will see that in MongoDB, don't design a database or table or anything. Just put a connection and tell business requirement. From your app, you send the data. It will create database for you. It will add tables for you. It will store data in that for you. And next time onwards, if already data is present, it will communicate with it. Every time it will not create. That's the great feature. That means first time it saw that there is no database, then it creates. Second time it's already there, then it will just use it. That means a developer need not to implement any mechanism. It internally handles. That means if database is there, it will communicate. If database is not there, it can create. That means you may ask, like, that's what I told you just now. Will it then every time when I register, it will create a new database? No. If already database is there, it is framework is designed in such a way that if database is already there, then automatically it will communicate. It will not create. This is the internal approach which is already present in MongoDB. Actually, other databases started recently. Other databases have, all databases are now following this approach. So, but MongoDB implicitly manages this. Implicitly manages this. Actually, this is the concept. How the framework works, how the interactions will be handled. Right? Later, we will see this, how we can manage. That means if database is there, it is going to use it. If database is not there, it is going to create it. It is going to create that. That's it. You will see practically that. Another important is MongoDB. That means actually It supports lazy loading, change tracking, so query translation. So like features. So these are all actually ORM related features. These are all. That means implicitly they provide. Generally, what is lazy loading? We will see them. What is lazy loading is nothing but it loads only the content that is required for that situation. It will not load everything. So you will see some features how they work and all, right? Next important, it supports ad hoc querying. It supports ad hoc querying. It supports ad hoc querying. So and indexing. So many features are there. It supports data replications. Data replications. These are all the key important points for this MongoDB. Ad hoc querying is dynamically, because ORM means dynamically query generation. Dynamically query generation. Actually, many technologies to implement this mechanism, Java, .NET, all these people, they use a mechanism called OData. They use OData. This OData is the mechanism used by Java, .NET, all other technologies to uniformly query the data. Dynamically query the data, they use this mechanism, OData. OData is very popular. It's a very popular concept. In real world, almost majority of applications use this OData. This is OData. This is the OData. This is very good for API, REST APIs. So representational state transfer. This is actually OData. That means usually this is good for various situations. That means dynamically query. Actually, it provides RESTful APIs. It provides various services. OData have a lot of tools in it. OData have so many other concepts. So usually almost every software technology people who are working at level of Java, .NET, Python, PHP, they know this OData. Usually, what is that ad hoc querying is? You see now here, business queries means, for example, we have like some just dial. This is something like just dial. Just dial is, this is just dial. And you see, in this just dial, 4 crore businesses are there. 4 crore plus businesses are present in this just dial. You can search among them and you can get information about them. Now imagine how many queries a developer need to keep ready for that. For which business, for which purpose, how people search, what they want from a business in this website, how they query. then how many queries a developer need to keep ready? Because we don't know how out of this 4 crore business, user wants which one. That means what is the mechanism behind this? That means how many queries you write. If you generally have worked at analytics and all these things, you will see that developers sit day and night for writing thousands of queries for a scenario, thousands of queries, because to handle one operation, it may be several tasks, means several test cases. That means one concept have several cases. For every case, they have to write a query. Just like in general point, I will tell you. Suppose in JavaScript, you created a prompt. Just option I am giving. You created a prompt. Now, if I ask you, write a logic for reading data from this prompt and display, then what you do? Write a logic for reading data from this means you declare a variable. So we will collect the value from that. And this string we will display. If user clicks cancel in prompt, if user clicks OK without data in prompt, that means you have to write na for that. Without writing simply, that means for prompt, you have 3 scenarios, 3 test cases. One is OK with data. Another one is OK without data. Another one is cancel. Another one is escape. That means you written all 3, you forgot escape, then issue. Like that, to handle a particular situation, a developer need to write thousands of queries, hundreds, thousands of queries. That is the reason business intelligence and artificial intelligence are very complex. Do you know, generally now people come and ask like, I want to learn artificial intelligence, right? And generally institutes will say, pay 10,000, I will teach you artificial intelligence. Seriously, is artificial intelligence so simple and easy that you will just teach anybody artificial intelligence? That means, is it like just like HTML, CSS course that people can learn? That means many people are misguided in this way, because it is not such easy or simplified that how people may think about it. It's very complex. Do you know, actually, for example, even people learning like a technology like Python, which is used for artificial intelligence, they have to learn a lot of algorithms. For artificial intelligence, you are building an app for an artificial intelligence. For one situation, hundreds of algorithms will be there. And these days, people don't know how to write algorithm, and they call themselves as developer of artificial intelligence Python. Seriously, it doesn't happen. Means in real world scenario, it is not that same. That means hundreds of algorithms, very complex. That means you have to write an algorithm in such a way that it has some thousands of lines. We have to create a flow chart for that, and for that we need to implement the business, means intelligence. This is not easy. That means even people like IIT, they struggle in handling this artificial intelligence. Now you simply say, any background, okay, come, I will teach you artificial intelligence. It's not like that. That is the reason many hundreds, thousands of people may be learning, but getting placed through that will be little difficult until or unless they work very hard. That means we are not discouraging that this is not for everybody. We are saying that it needs lot of work. Lot of work, lot of hard work. It's very complex. It's not so easy. That is the reason many people are these days worried about chat GPT and all, right? What is chat GPT? Chat GPT, you saw, you ask for a program, it returns it writes the program and give to you. Do you know genuinely high level people, software engineers who are in the industry for more than 20-25 years, they are not worried about this because they were using these kind of things earlier also. This is not a new thing. Do you know in our technologies, do you know in Java, .NET like technologies, they have a simple mechanism of they just tell what they want, automatically it will wire up the code for it. If anybody know technologies like .NET and all this Java, they have a concept called scaffolding. Scaffolding. It is introduced with a technology called Ruby on Rails. Scaffolding means you just tell what you want. According to your requirement, it will design everything. Remember, it will create the designs. It will write the logic. It will implement the data. Everything it will do. It's not a new concept. 10 years back we used it. 10 years back we used it. And now people are worried. They think that this is something great new feature is coming. We are not worried about this because we already have, and we know that our developers still need some knowledge to understand and use this. That's the reason many people say artificial, these chat GPT came, jobs will go. So there will be no more humans, only robots will be working in companies. It will never happen. We have seen such things so many from several years, right? It is just an add-on to developer. That is help to developer. That means we have so many developers in companies in such a way that you give the code also, he can't properly identify the problems in that. Now he will go to chat GPT, get the code, and he will use the code and customize it. No, again he will have to follow the similar process. It simplifies, that's it. It is not replacing you. It is not replacing you. It is just simplifying your work. Your work is still your work. You have to do. This is the major point. That means now what is the major concept of this ad hoc querying is it can build queries according to your actions. That's great. That means we don't need to keep the query ready. According to your actions, automatically it can build a query. So you said post, then it understands that it is to insert. You say get, it understands that it is to find, read. That means it can build the queries accordingly. That is what ad hoc querying is. That's one of the important feature. Data replications is to manage load very well. Data replication is nothing but, for example, you have a data store. It have a capacity to provide 10,000 people at a time. Then at one particular moment, when one particular moment 2 million people came to access it, then it will hang up because its capacity is only 10,000. That means if Amazon says, and not only Amazon, OTT platforms, you are watching a cricket match on some OTT platform at a peak stage in IPL, all these you have seen at a peak stage. So crores of people will come to see. Then suddenly it starts stopping for you. It starts losing the connection for you. Why? Because load is increasing. Then automatically it is unable to provide the service. Now data replications, what will happen is if more people are coming, it will replicate this data, a copy, and through the copy it will provide access to others. That means data is always on, data is always available, data is always accessible to everyone. These are some important features. These days all cloud technologies, because this is also belongs to a cloud, they all maintain these features. They all maintain these features, replications and always on like facilities. These are some points that you need to understand. Now, how to set up this and how to work with this, we will see. So what you have to do first, you have to download and install MongoDB community server on your PC. You have to download and install community server on your PC. First thing, I will give this as setup. You have to download, install community server on your PC. This is the direct link actually. This is the MongoDB community. I will keep this. You have to get this. Remember, you directly visit this link because that website will confuse you with a lot of things. And you go on YouTube and search for that, they will confuse you more about it. So just directly go to this link because you don't know, you don't need any other extra to practice our current concept. You just need this community server. That's it. Unnecessarily installing everything on MongoDB not required. So here you just go to this community and in this community you will find a MongoDB community server to download. You have to just download that MongoDB here, select a package and current version is 7. You have to just select your platform. Is it for Windows or Linux or Mac? And you have to just download and install. A simple node like setup file will come. And remember, while installing, so make sure that you selected MongoDB Compass while installing. MongoDB Compass while installing. Actually, MongoDB Compass tool is there. While installing, it will ask you a checkbox. Do you want to install Compass? You have to check that because this Compass is a client tool which is used to connect with the server. From here, you can manage communication with the servers. It is a GUI tool. That means without using much commands, you can visually manage the database. You can add database, manage the database here. So you have to download this MongoDB Compass. Okay. Now, actually, you know how generally databases work usually. Generally, what happens is every database usually have server. Usually have a server. So this is database server. This database server, usually this is the database server. And this database server is the location where all the data is kept. It is the store. It is the location all your data is kept. But you will not directly work on server. You will not directly work on server. You are provided with another tool. This is actually a client tool. A client tool is provided to you. Usually what you have to do through client tool, you have to connect with the server, get the data and access it here. Here you can, so here you can watch, here you can manipulate. That means here you can watch the data, insert. From here you will insert, here you will update or delete. But this is actually need to be updated in the server. You are not directly working on server. Any database, same. Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, any database have a client and a server. Data is in the server and a client tool is provided. Through the client tool, we have to connect. and from that you have to manipulate. We don't directly work on server. So this client tool is actually MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass is a client tool. Through this, you can connect with the MongoDB server and you can see the data present in it. You can add new data into it, manipulations, everything you can manage. So first what you have to do is after installing, make sure that this server is running, because sometimes due to some technical reasons, this server may be stopped. If the server is stopped, then you cannot connect. Your client tool is working, but server is stopped, then you cannot connect. Your applications cannot connect. You have to make sure that the server is running. How we have to do? For that, first you have to start server. So go to services on your PC and start MongoDB server. That's the concept you have to do. Usually MongoDB server standard IP address is standard IP address is MongoDB colon / 127.0.0.1 colon 27017. That is the standard address. Usually people call this as connection string. People call this as connection string. To connect with MongoDB server from any technology in the world, this is the connection string. Every database have a connection string. Oracle connection strings will be different. MySQL connection string will be different. MS Access connection string, Excel connection string. Do you know connection? You know, data can be even maintained. That means, for example, if you go to interviews, if you show vast experience like 10 years experience, 7 years experience, do you know sometimes in interview they ask like, okay, I have some data in a HTML page in a table. You have to access the data and display. In your app, from a HTML table, you have to bring it. Many people, they don't know that even they are 10, 15 years experience also. They don't know because hundreds of data sources are there. And to communicate with every source, a different mechanism, plugins are required. You see, for example, you can visit a website called connectionstrings.com. This is connection strings reference. That means it is one of the popular connection strings reference. That means you will get the connection for every database in the world here. That means software developers who work with databases in various technologies like Java, .NET, PHP, Python, all these, they have touch with this because this will help them in various issues while communicating with the database. For different situation, how to write connections, it will show. Actually, you see, these are all databases. These all are databases. This is the list of database. And in that there is a HTML table also. That means if data is in a HTML table, how you will access it? How do you access from a HTML table? Right? Sometimes they go extreme. They say that in a PDF file there is a table I want it. Right? That this requires, it's not impossible, it can be done, but it requires the technique. You need to understand how to connect. Connection is the first point. If you connect, then you need some extra plugins through which you can access and use. You can visit this website to get information about how to connect with different databases in the world. Right, from one place you can get information about everything. It will show you all the information about that, how to communicate and use. Right, it will give you all the information about that. Right, so this is in future, but for MongoDB you need this. Right, let's see how to start the server. Open your programs. You can type services.msc. You see services app will be there. In run you can directly type services.msc. This is services. In the services you see list of so many services which are currently available on your PC, and here you can see MongoDB server. It is running currently. Even if anybody have a complaint like in my computer Oracle is not running, MySQL is not running, SQL Server not running, here you have to control. That means this is the location where we have to check whether the server is running or stopped, have any issues. Right, you see now I will right click on this and I have to select start or stop. It's already running, so no problem. If it is in stop, make sure that it is start. Okay, after that, now what we have to do, starting the server, then open MongoDB Compass and connect to server. MongoDB Compass and connect to server using connection string. Using connection string, you have to connect to the server. So you have to open MongoDB Compass and do that. So in after you installed MongoDB successfully on your PC, you have a MongoDB Compass. You open this MongoDB Compass. This is the MongoDB Compass. So this is MongoDB Compass. And here it is asking connection string. Connection string, here you have to type the connection string. What it is? MongoDB :/1270001:27017. This is the connection string. And you click on connect, then it will connect. It will connect to the connection, and you see it shows these are all the databases I have. It shows the list of databases I am having. Now here we have to learn how to create a database. That means according to our requirements, that means we have to design this app. Am I right? We have to design this app. For this app, how we prepare a database, how to maintain the data, queries, all these things we will see. That means now we will learn how database is designed. For designing database, we will learn what is the basic process followed by developers. What are the models we have to create? How do we configure them? And we will create database for that project. And we will write the queries for that particular project. Then we can communicate with it. We can use it in our React application. That we'll see tomorrow. Right, in tomorrow's session, we are going to build the database according to our project. For that, what are the steps involved? How database models are designed? So how relations are configured? These points we will see. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we'll do that. Okay. Right.